Good morning, clouds. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, clouds of all ages. It has been a very long time. It's been 3 weeks, actually, since the last Sanctum Forecast. As you can probably tell from my energy levels, I am totally recharged, even though I am now working full-time at Sanctum. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. I have transitioned from part-time into full-time. And some of you might be thinking, weren't you already working full-time at Sanctum? That's actually not true. I do work on a lot of things in the ecosystem, and Sanctum is very near and dear to my heart, but I definitely, wasn't make this first priority. Now, Sanctum is my number one priority. So, ladies and gentlemen, very happy to be back with the Sanctum Forecast number 13. Man, we have a lot of things to talk about today. Things are changing around in Sanctum. It's all good things. I'm not even going to be saying the juiciest bits right now, but it's been a while since we've connected with community with the forecast, and so it just seems only appropriate, definitely, to spend time with y'all. I am currently in the lovely country of Dubai. We have some very good friends over here. Of course, we have Nate. Hey, Nate, how are you? Good to see you. Frog Ross as well. Let's effing Cloud. Prado, why are you not in Dubai right now? Living in the clouds right now. Actually, I am living in hotel rooms around the world. I mean, man, my travel schedule is absolutely insane. After Dubai, I am going over to Toronto for Startup Village. And after Toronto, I'm going to New York to be a co-host for Accelerate. And after Accelerate, I am going over to Vietnam to host Solana Summit. And after Solana Summit, I will be going over to Berlin for Berlin Blockchain Week. I also just got finished hosting Crossroads. That was a lot of fun. So basically, the point is that Sanctum is everywhere. There's not a single event that Sanctum is missing. And the whole point of that, is Eno just getting a paid vacation to go all around the world? No, it's actually a lot of work. And we will explain some of that work here, but we will definitely have a more in-depth conversation about all the things that are going on at Sanctum and why haven't I been around for the last couple of weeks? Where's the team been? I have been posting a lot on Twitter, so if you've been reading the tea leaves, if you've been reading between the lines, then you'll see that there's definitely a lot of moves that Sanctum is making, especially on the institutional and B2B side. But first and foremost, let's get started with the Sanctum Forecast. Oh, we also have Lucio. What's good, Lucio? As always, definitely want you guys to be active in the chat. I really, really missed all of your faces. So yeah, as you know, my name is Eno. I am the Chief Vibes Officer over at Sanctum, and in addition to community and governance, now I am on the BD team. So that is a part of my expanded role over at Sanctum. But yes, Chief Vibes Officer always. Why are we here? We're here to celebrate and talk about all things related to the Sanctosphere. But I actually like the way that Lucio put it. Lucio put it as the Sanctum world. Lucio, I like the way that you're thinking. And, in order to get PMF and anything, you have to start with a wedge, because a product that does everything for everyone is a product for nothing, right? But if you focus on a very specific wedge and attack plan, then you can expand all throughout the known universe. And of course, we're going to start with the Sanctum World, aka the Sanctosphere. And what do we do at the Sanctosphere? Well, we talk about bullish news. We talk about delightful products. And we do it while talking about Sanctum Governance Machine, right? Sanctum Governance, we've been spending some time talking about some exciting updates. I don't know how much I'm allowed to disclose here, but this is going to be a ton of fun to talk about all the updates over like the last 3 weeks. And of course, we're here to do it with the most earnest Cloud fam. Okay. So, hey, Cloud fam, very good to see you. I really did miss you. And we're here to build Sanctum together as one big family because cannot do it with any of you, without any of you. Because honestly, this is a team effort. And if we're just doing it by ourselves, then we're doing it with nobody. So here are the house rules. You already know the house rules. We'll go over these very quickly. Number 1, Albus wants you to spam the chat. Speaking of which, I don't know if Lucio is here. I was just not Lucio. If Coletta was here, I was just spending time with Coletta over in Istanbul for Crossroads. One of the best Cloud fam that there is. He's constantly talking about Sanctum over in Brazil. I sincerely appreciate all his efforts educating the Brazilian community. And the reason why I'm bringing him up here right now is because like a few forecasts ago, he had been spamming the chat quite well, and like I had gotten some merch over in Tokyo, and he had won, he had stayed very active in the chat, and so I got some very exclusive backpack merch for him, which was a backpack. I wish I had a picture of that. Lucio, we should not Lucio. Gosh, sorry, Coletta. We should have taken a picture of that. But yes, we did get a backpack for Coletta. So if you don't mind, please spam the chat. Number 2, I need you to think long term. All right, we don't talk about short term price action. We think about the fundamentals that will make the Cloud token great again. Not only that, but I want you to be thoughtful and kind, and as well as have a good time. Mixing up the Brazil. Lucio says, "You're mixing up the Brazilians, man." Yeah, sorry about that, but we love Brazil. I actually really do love Brazil. Today's forecast is very video heavy, so you won't have to see me talking all the whole time, but definitely have a lot of things to announce. As always, best forecast thread on X gets you 50 USDC, and this week's winner is, let me put my microphone down. Drum roll, please. Boom. It is Daryl Nenye. Nenye, congratulations on winning this week's forecast thread. If you scan that QR code, you can actually see an example of what we think is a great forecast thread. Nenye is also a shining example of consistency. They've been posting on X about the Sanctum forecasts for weeks, and I believe this is the first time that Nenye has won. So congratulations, Nenye. Please speak with Nick. We'll get your address and we'll send you your prize money. You absolutely deserve it. You killed it. Really appreciate it. Okay, so today's agenda, we are going to be talking about, good product, Lightning. Oops, that. Today's agenda, we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest in Solana, the latest and greatest at Sanctum, Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike, we talk about the best products that are being built over at Solana at Sanctum. You know what Sanctum is, Solana, now that I think about it. And number 2, what to expect. So we will be talking about the future of Sanctum and what you should expect to see. I'm sorry that I'm stumbling over my words so much. If you guys are on Twitter and kind of been keeping track of what's happened over the last 2 hours, I somehow got in the wrong taxi and I was left on the side of the road. I made it back to the hotel on time, but it was very hot and I'm very dehydrated, but we will figure that out after the forecast. Glad I'm here. But yes, we are going to be talking about the latest updates with product as well as what to expect with Sanctum. Coletta actually has a lot of alpha, but Coletta is not allowed to share it. So, okay. So with Lightning Strike, the first thing that we're going to share here is kind of insane. We hit an all-time high with the amount of SOL staked in Sanctum LSTs. We're talking about 10 million SOL. That is absolutely amazing. I mean, if you look at this graph here, it's just been rocket shift growth since April of 2024. Like, honestly, in April of 2024, we were nowhere. That was a year ago. So in a single calendar year, we have gotten to $1.4 billion and that's just an incredible accomplishment that we've got 10 million stakes, and that's just the beginning. Actually, it's going to get crazier. And in order to grow, Sanctum TVL, obviously we need to be launching new LSTs with distribution, which is a lot of the reason why I'm now also on the BD team. And one of the first deals that I negotiated is actually with some very good friends. If you've been paying attention to the timeline, you would know this. And I am just going to share a very quick video that you might have seen. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. monkeSOL is now live, and it's all issued through Sanctum. That was an insane deal that we negotiated with MonkeyDAO. How that all went down is, again, this is part of the whole reason why I travel everywhere. Is I was a mentor over at Super Team Japan's Winter Arc program over in Tokyo, Japan. And while I was there, actually, the entire MonkeyDAO Executive Council was there in Tokyo. And, I originally wasn't looking to negotiate this deal at all. It just kind of happened and fell in our laps. They were looking to issue an LST. They were looking to provide banana stand rewards for all monkeSOL holders. There's all sorts of perks that MonkeyDAO is looking to offer for people who hold, monkeSOL. And I'm just wondering, do we have any monkeys in the chat? MonkeyDAO was actually my first DAO on Solana. I joined Solana in early 2023, so this must have been around January. And I went to my first hacker house. That's not true. My first hacker house was actually in 2022 in Singapore. But in 2023 was when I was actually building on Solana. I went to Vietnam Hacker House, and that's the first time I ever met Nam and the entire the MonkeyDAO team at that time, that generation. And Nam and Sammy and a bunch of folks actually bullied me into buying my first monkey. And if you know the monkey slogan, it's reject humanity, return to monkey. MonkeyDAO, of course, is the Web3 country club for Solana, and most importantly, it's the DAO for builders. They have all sorts of programs now, including Build with MonkeyDAO, which means that if you're an early stage builder and you're looking for a seed grant, it makes a lot of sense actually to apply to the Build with MonkeyDAO program. You can get a grant, and start your startup dreams. Super excited for this partnership that we have with MonkeyDAO. And more importantly, it helps us grow. I mean, for us, obviously it's important on a lot of levels. But for Sanctum, it means that we're significantly growing our stake. How do you go from 0 to 10 million stake? It's with partners, right? Really, really important partners. And so MonkeyDAO is a very cherished partner. I believe I will have them on the forecast next week. And also I'll be joining the MonkeyDAO Town Hall this Friday to talk all about the latest and greatest developments with MonkeyDAO. But yeah, no, this is a big one, guys. I don't think you guys understand how big it is. And Monkey is obviously going places. They are, out of all the NFT collections that have launched on Solana, and there are a few that are worth it. DKS, Boogle, Lucid Drakes. But obviously, MonkeyDAO is probably the only degenerative collection that still is worth a damn, in my personal opinion. So really happy to be working with MonkeyDAO to launch monkeSOL. I believe that this was a great kind of partnership that we have together, and I can't wait for all the things that we do forward. But by the way, MonkeyDAO is going to have Solstice, which is their own MonkeyDAO conference over in New York. I mean, obviously it's open to everyone, but yes, Solstice will be taking place in New York, and if you're going, I can't wait to see you there. In addition to MonkeyDAO, we have another partner that we announced in the last few weeks, and some of you might have already forgotten this because the announcements have been coming in hard and heavy. But first, let me introduce you to our other partner that we will show right now. That's right. We're also working with Crypto.com for their liquid staking solutions. The name of the Crypto.com token is cdcSOL. It's been an absolute pleasure working with the CDC team. Super happy that we're able to work with them as well. And as you saw, for the first 250,000 SOL, they're guaranteeing 15% APY. They're juicing that. And it goes all the way into May 8th. So there's actually still time, another week or so of those incentives. So if you're looking for liquid staking and a pretty healthy APY, cdcSOL is a pretty good bet, over at Crypto.com. So if you're a Crypto.com user, just know that the liquid staking solutions are all powered by Sanctum. And guys, I mean, geez Louise, we have so many partners that we're working with that are major. Obviously, we work with Jupiter, run the Jupiter validator ourselves. That's about 4 million SOL staked. We work with Drift. We work with Crypto.com. We work with monkeDAO. We work with, just about everyone. But that doesn't mean that we're not out to conquer the world. And actually, our goal for this year over at the sales team, the BD team, is to get to 30 million SOL staked for Sanctum. And so that's going to mean that we're going to have much more revenue. We've turned on the fee switch. You know that we've talked about fees in previous forecasts, a few weeks ago, and that fee switch has turned on. It is now on. So we are on track to earn more revenue this year, which means that we can do more things for cloud, which means that we can do more things for community, which means we can do more things with product. Just a great friends that we have over at cdcSOL, as well as a bunch of other partners. So really appreciate that. And this is going to be the last video of the day. I know there's it's been a few weeks, so there's a lot of videos that we haven't been able to go over at the Sanctum Forecast. But last but not least, I'd love to introduce you to some major improvements that we've made to Sanctum.so. So, we have made major improvements to the INF page over at Sanctum.so. In fact, I'm going to share my screen right now. And what you're seeing over here, of course, is our INF page at Sanctum. If you want to get there, it's very simple. So I'm just going to go to the Sanctum website right here. So let's say you go to app.sanctum.so. And if you simply click on stake over here, you can see our newly upgraded INF page. For those of you who are new here and you're wondering what INF is, INF stands for infinity because it provide infinite liquidity, deep liquidity okay, obviously it's not infinite liquidity, but we'll get there. We provide liquidity through our unified liquidity layer to all new LSTs that join our family. And so that's why, even if you're a smaller, LST, it's okay. Like, you still have a lot of liquidity to trade against, and so you can still be very liquid for your LST. We have completely changed the paradigm for what it means to run a liquid staking token. Over in Ethereum, the prevailing theory up until last year, literally until April of last year, the theory was, LSTs are a winner-take-all market. You talk to investors, you talk to market analysts, you talk to some of the smartest people in the space, and what they tell you is that, like, at that time, about a year ago, right? If even just 2024, early last year, you ask people what they thought about the liquid staking market, and what they would tell you is that, liquid staking is winner take all. There's really only going to be like one Lido or some bigger player that's going to win the entire market. And, we changed that paradigm. The thought is that we will have a unified liquidity layer for all the different LSTs to trade against. And that unified liquidity layer is infinity, right? So infinity is essentially an index of all the LSTs that we have within the Sanctum network. So yeah, this is an absolutely beautiful page designed by our product extraordinaire. I love him to death, Aaron. Aaron, I don't know if you're watching this stream, but if you are watching this stream, I want to let you know that you've done an absolutely wonderful job, creating this page. So of course we have, upgrade your SOL, earn more with INF, which is true. You have extremely high APY with INF. So currently it's hovering a little bit over 11%. And enjoy the best LSTs, earn trading fees as well. So, INF trading fees, INF and DeFi, earn block rewards. I mean, we actually have some integrations for INF that are coming up in the pipeline very soon, which means that not only could you earn, potentially 11%, but also the DeFi yield on top of that, which is insane, right? It's like a double stuffed Oreo. You're getting extra cream. So that's absolutely wonderful. And just comparing some historic yields here, like obviously you can see that INF is the highest performing LST on Solana. There's really no other choice. And if you look over here, you can see like all the different ways that where does the yield come from is a question that people ask all the time. And obviously we have a bunch of DeFi integrations for INF, so you can earn additional yield on top of that. So, that's absolutely wonderful. So congratulations and thank you very much to the product team for pushing this page. It really did take them a while to get that all done. So I really appreciate that, guys, for over a year of historical zero. Jay, man, I want this guy here. Hey, Jay, how are you? Over a year of historical zero. Okay, going forward, what to expect? All right, so this is the section that I want to spend a lot of time on. Overperformance, says Jay. Hey, so Jay is actually with me in Dubai, but he is running around like a chicken. And the reason why he's running around like a chicken is to not a literal chicken, but I just mean he's running around a lot with Jesse, by the way. Jay, Jesse, and I are, this is a good time to say it. We are a part of the newly formed Sanctum BD team. It is structured. We are being extremely. Oh my gosh, Italo is here too, dude. Italo never comes to the streams. Hey, Italo, how are you? But yeah, it's great to see Italo. We have a lot of friends over here. So what to expect? Next week we're going to be making a lot more announcements. FP is going to be here. But first and foremost, I'd like to go over something a little special. But first, we have to talk about the forecast thread. $50 for the best thread that comes out of this forecast. And when is the next proposal? The next proposal is coming up very soon. There's FP is working on this proposal, and you guys are really gonna love it. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's coming. So you guys, I'm just teasing that for next week. I'm telling you, you guys will be very, very pleased with the announcement that's coming next week for the next governance proposal. Sanctum governance took a bit of a pause because we were thinking about what our strategic goals for governance are, and I promise you, it's it's gonna be great. And next, of course, is what is the team working on? Okay, so I want to bring up this tweet that went viral, and gonna bring this from FP himself, the man, the myth, the legend. And so, look, I'll be honest with you, right? Like when I joined Sanctum a few months ago, I believe that Sanctum was going through a transition, right? I'm going to be very transparent with you about that, right? We had kind of built our brand all around Wonderland, around B2C. We had launched Creator Coins. We had launched this, like we had announced the Sanctum card over at Breakpoint. And so, and obviously, like we were very, very successful there. Wonderland was very successful. There were a lot of, just lots of love. I mean, just so much intention, so much care. The riddles, the the creatures, the LSTs. I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. But Sanctum is growing up, and trust me, I get a lot of messages from community members who say like, oh man, like when are you bringing Wonderland Season 2 back, and like what's going on, and like how come there's like no more movement on the B2C side. And what's been happening over the last few months is Sanctum is growing up. There are some growing pains, and it's no longer a team of 7 people, it's a team of 17. So a lot of what's been going, and in fact, we actually just added a new dev. You might have seen him online. His name is Kunal. Actually, what's really interesting is Kunal is a very close personal friend of mine, and I wasn't aware that he was in discussions to join Sanctum. But then I got a random DM on Slack, and then Kunal said like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I was like, "What the heck?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm at Sanctum now." And so it's just, we have a bunch of developers. We have new talent that is pouring into Sanctum. Obviously, we're earning some revenue at a fairly healthy clip, so we can afford to do more things now. But a lot of our effort, as you can appreciate, has gone into growing the team. And I don't know if there are any founders out there or just people who are aware of what startup culture is like. Our community is very, very intelligent. And I just want to say that, recruiting people is a lengthy process. In fact, I also spend quite a bit of time recruiting people to come to Sanctum, right? So I just mean to say that's not a trivial thing to do. It's not easy to grow a team from 7 to 17. And in fact, if anything, that number is continuing to grow. Like even as we speak, it'll probably be 20 by the end of the month, or so, by the end of next month or so. But yeah, the team has grown quite considerably. Also, like you guys would be more aware of this than anybody else in the world. But we've built out governance with Futarchy. It's definitely a grand experiment. I actually was just spending a bit of time with Prophet over here in Dubai, talking about Sanctum governance and the future of Futarchy. We are still continuing with Futarchy, but definitely have learned a few things about how it works and how to get the most out of it. And we will take those learnings and then continue to improve Sanctum governance. Obviously, in that time, also, we've doubled down on our infinite LST vision. We have over 1,000 new LSTs now. So that was an idea that was cooked up on my first week at Sanctum, which was like literally the first week when I joined. It was like 1,000 LSTs that we launched for every single validator permissionlessly on Solana. And Toli was a huge fan of that launch. And obviously we've garnered quite a reputation now. Like when you think about LSTs on Solana, even though cdcSOL is bigger, right? You actually think of Sanctum. And the reason why you think of Sanctum is because of the volume of LSTs that we have launched on this chain, right? And we strongly believe that in the not so distant future, we'll be flipping and it'll be fun. Okay, so next on, we keep improving our products, including the front end, which includes the LST page, the INF page. We literally just showed you the improvements that we've made to the INF page. In fact, if you're on the stream and this is your first time, on the forecast and you're raw dogging Sol, what are you doing? go over to app.sanctum.so, app.sanctum.so. I implore you, you should definitely check out our website, go to stake, and you should switch over from raw SOL over to INF. You get INF trading fees, you can use INF in DeFi, and it is legitimately the highest performing LST on Solana. That's not just me blowing smoke up my ass. That is for real. That is absolutely objective fact. We have the best performing LST on Solana. So if you are just holding raw SOL, I strongly endorse, recommend, ask, beg. I will dance. I will sing. Hey, you know what? If someone sends me a screenshot of them, swapping some SOL into INF, let's say like I don't know, a 5 SOL minimum, I'll sing you. I'll sing happy birthday for you on your birthday. I'll make you a custom video, whatever you want, brother. But seriously, if you're raw dogging SOL, not a very wise choice. And going back to other updates in FP's mega update, right? We also are building better backend infra. I cannot speak too much about this because it kind of ties to some more confidential stuff. But and also, yes, Coletta brings up a very good point. Alkine, who was a former Sanctum community member who now works with Sanctum full time, has been doing an absolutely wonderful job on INF. So really, really appreciate that, all the work that that Alkine is doing. And obviously, like I said, there's been a bit of a culture shift here, right? So I specifically want to focus on this piece. So when Sanctum was younger and it had like kind of 7 people, there was this culture of throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. And I think that's a completely valid approach for when you do not have product market fit. That is so valid, right? You're trying to figure things out. You don't really understand what's going to work or what's not going to work. How is the market going to react? Are you going to get support from institutions? Are you going to get support from the biggest players on Solana? That's all very unclear, right? So when you're first starting out at a company, like it is your job just to throw things, against a wall and see what sticks. But now we're working with the biggest players in the space. We're working with Bybit, for God's sakes. We're working with Jupiter. We're working with major institutions. We're having conversations with some of the biggest players in the space. So what does that mean for us at Sanctum? Well, it means that our product decisions have more weight now than they ever have before. And we cannot afford to waste time. There are some announcements that I've been teasing it for a very long time. And trust me, I do get frustrated sometimes because I really want to talk about it. And there's some people that I want to invite to this forecast that I simply just cannot. But there are some... we talk a lot about the decentralized ethos on Solana, and I think Cash Donda, formerly of Super Team, currently of Jupiter, says it the best, which is that decentralization means that you must have many leaders. Okay, that's the only way that decentralization works. I'm not so much talking about the decentralized bit, but what I am talking about is this concept of having many leaders. I myself am a former founder. And we also have other folks at Sanctum that are former founders as well. And all I mean to say is that like we're growing Sanctum in such a way that now we have many, many leaders. And part of that process of growing leadership at Sanctum means that we have to become more disciplined. And it also means that we cannot afford to make crappy product decisions where we throw things against a wall and see if it sticks. We have to be very intentional. Now, does that mean that we're still going to experiment? Yes. Does it mean that we're still going to move fast? Yes. Actually, if anything, I think we're going to be shipping faster now that we have more structure. But I just mean to say that Sanctum is growing up. I'd say we're probably now in our early 20s as opposed to being in puberty. And that means that we're older. It means that we're wiser. It means that we're being more intentional. And every move is much more calculated. And there's a why to everything. We've always had whys, but that why is more scrutinized internally more now than it's ever been before. And so like, I'm very happy with these changes. I endorse these changes. And for some people on the outside, I actually heard someone tell me the other day that they think that Sanctum is crumbling. And the reason why they think Sanctum is crumbling is because like we're not like launching more consumer product and we've lost our way. And I can tell you with very, very insider information that is just not the case. Sanctum isn't crumbling. It's growing. It's evolving. It's getting more mature. And we're focusing a lot, especially on the institutional side, growing our institutional stake. Our target, of course, you might have seen some of my tweets, is 30 million SOL by the end of the year. But I think the best way to get to 30 million SOL by the end of the year is to target 50 million. So that's my personal number. So 50 million SOL by the end of the year for me, 30 million SOL by the end of the year by the company. Obviously, one of the reasons why we're in Dubai right now is because there's Token 2049. A lot of major Solana projects have come here to Token 2049. We had our first Token 2049 side events. I would love to talk about that pop event later. I think it was a particularly genius strategy. We had 30 of the biggest protocols on Solana like over at the side event, and it was completely like not pre-planned, but very strategic. We found a gap in the schedule, and we used all the favors that we had in our network to gather some really, really solid builders, and which just means great lead generation for Sanctum. And there might be some people out there who are a part of OG Cloud Fam. You've been here since Wonderland, and some of you might be like, who gives a crap, right? Like, why are you talking about all this institutional stake stuff? Well, first of all, we haven't forgotten the consumer side. I want to make that very clear. We have a lot of things that we're going to be building out on the consumer side. But that being said, you cannot power the consumer side without money, without revenue, right? And the way that Sanctum makes its money and the way that Sanctum makes its revenue is through growing stake. And so that's why it matters that we have reached an all-time high with about $1.5 billion deposited in the protocol. And if we do our jobs right, we'll be 3-5xing that by the end of the year. So, we're looking at, 4 to 6 billion deposited in the protocol by the end of the year, which means more revenue, which means we can hire more people, which means that we can have more structure, we can get more leaders on the team, we can do more things with Wonderland Season 2, we can build out consumer product, we have some other things in the pipeline. I am just incredibly bullish, incredibly excited, and yeah, this is going to be great. This is more of a personal learning from FP. He says, to over communicate, especially bad news. I think this is a little dramatic. I would personally, but yes, we do have some announcements, specifically related to product next week, because of the strategic re-angling that we've done over at Sanctum. And this is probably my favorite part, which is be less perfectionist. And the reason this is my favorite part is because if FP is less perfectionist, it means I can get him more on camera. and FP and the rest of the team are really the soul of this company. So I cannot wait for FP to come on here and to explain more of his thoughts about where Sanctum is going, et cetera, et cetera. And I think FP, in terms of what's next is echoing a lot of things that I'm saying right here, that this is a time of consolidation, of focus, double down on our core products, improve them as much as possible, and make very few highly strategic bets. So we've had a lot of people who have been very kindly, advising us about, Sanctum's direction. And trust me, they've been very firm about what they think. But that includes, Dinesh, Moo from Elemental, Meow, Jupiter, obviously, Meta from Meta, Nalik over from Futarchy, MetaDAO, Cash also Jupiter, Soju, Nick from Super Team Singapore, Profit, and of course Vibu, who's over at Jupiter. So we have a very strong network of founders who are advising us and helping us figure out our way. We also have many, many leaders that have joined Sanctum. We have some new folks that will be joining very soon that will also add additional leadership to the team, which just means that you get a very robust Sanctum. We haven't forgotten you guys. We're not abandoning the Sanctum Forecast. We will be doing the Sanctum Forecast with less frequency because I need to spend a lot more of my time growing institutional stake over at Sanctum. If any of you have any, this is a little weird because usually I'm not in a position to be asking for favors. Usually it's the other way around. But if there's anybody that's watching the stream that's interested in having, a validator and would like to have that discussion with us, we do have validator as a service. And in addition to that, obviously we'd love to launch an LST for you, even if you do have your own validator. So that's been this week's Sanctum Forecast. I really appreciate everyone for joining. This has been a ton of fun as usual, and of course, I love you all very, very much. I will actually be staying for like another few minutes to like, I don't know, just hang out. It's been a while, and I really missed you guys, and it's very happy to see you. And yeah, it's been a year of just absolute overperformance of INF. Appreciate you guys attending the stream. Of course, we have 50 USDC for the best thread for this week's forecast. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I'm officially going to say, cut. Sanctum Forecast is now officially over, but it's now after hours. It's actually quite dark here in Dubai. I should probably turn a light on. But yeah, it's really good to see you guys. Web3 Roy, a 3-time winner of the Sanctum Forecast thread, says W Wonderland. Yeah, Wonderland Season 2 will be coming. Just a matter of when and what exactly it looks like. That is being thought about. Sumptuous is have a great time in Dubai. Well, I wish I could have a great time in Dubai, but it's not really about having a great time, is it? If you've been keeping track of my Twitter account, and look, I'm not trying to show my account for my own personal. Like, I'm just saying that if you look at my Twitter account, if you look at Jay's Twitter account, if you look at Jesse's Twitter account, you notice that there's much more activity around how we grow institutional stake. And so, like, we're not here to have a fun time. And I do appreciate, Sumptuous, by the way, I do appreciate the well wishes. But to give you a sense of what our day looks like, I mean, like this morning we woke up at 8 a.m. We headed over to an event called Solana Snapshot. And we're gathering a lot of leads, a lot of folks who are if they already have their own validator, then we're in conversations with them to help launch their LST. And if they're not doing that, and they don't even have their own validator, you bet your ass that we're talking with them to be their validator. So I woke up at 8 a.m. To go over to Solana Snapshot. Was there all the way until 4 p.m. All got lost on the side of the road. Got dropped off next to the highway, random highway in Dubai, because of an error I made with my Uber, and then rushed all the way here to do the Sanctum Forecast. And you know what I'm doing after this? I'm going back out there. It's currently 7 p.m. over here in Dubai, and it's not time to drink. It's not time to party. It's time to work. Okay, that's why we're here in Dubai. And the same goes for Jesse, Jay, and myself. Yesterday, we organized, again, a 30-person pop-up Sanctum Social with some of the strongest founders in Solana. We have a lot of conversations that we're going to be having with some potential partners in the future. I hope to just be flooding you guys with good news every forecast. Today, we only had 2-3 videos about some partners that we've added onto Sanctum. And obviously, we've had other partners that have been added. But my point is that, like, we're going to be adding dozens more, right? And they're going to be bringing in millions and millions in stake. And that's why we travel the world to meet these partners and to make sure that they understand what Sanctum does. And if you guys could help in our effort to shout from the mountaintops what Sanctum does, I would very much appreciate that, because it's all good for all of us. Some Digits says we need to get DeFi Development Corporation or Sol Strategies to adopt a Sanctum LST. Hey, Some Digits, message me, DM me. Anybody got connections? They feel like that one of their favorite products doesn't have a validator, doesn't have an LST. Send those leads my way. Send the leads my way. Honestly, I want to hear it. Coletta is actually, what's very interesting about this cSOL. I am quite close with the CEO of Cast, Raghulan Pati. He has a very inspirational story. He did a great talk at Crossroads. But Coletta is actually the #1 Brazilian referrer for Cast cards. So he also has a very close relationship with the Cast team. That would also be sick. So again, like, any ideas that you have for people that we should speak to, please let us know. All right. Oh, any updates on governance and or end date for the first ASR period? That will be coming next week, if not the week after. Yes, that will be announced. So Flog, don't worry, we got you covered. And yeah, okay. Well, if there's anything that I can do for you, if there's something that's upsetting you, if there's something that we can do to make you feel more loved or heard, please let us know. We absolutely want to make sure that community comes first. Again, to be very clear, we will be doing the forecasts with less frequency. But the trade-off, and the reason why we're making that trade-off, and this was a very painful trade-off for me, by the way. I struggled with this for a very long time because I love doing the forecast so much. I want to do it every week. In fact, doing it every week was my idea. FP originally told me, you only have to do this forecast like every couple of weeks or so. I was the one who said I wanted to do it every week. And that's because I just love hanging out with community. But because Sanctum is growing up, there are some sacrifices that we have to make in order to reach our goals. In a perfect world, after we get to 30 million or 50 million staked on Sanctum, then I would be able to dedicate. I'd be able maybe to hire some more people to work on the BD side, and that can come back to community. Because as much as I love speaking with players all around the world, really my heart and what I care about and what I really, really love is community and governance. And of course, I can do the sales, and I'm good at that. But quite frankly, I prefer to be with you guys. I love you guys. So again, thank you so much. Some Digits says, thanks for the updates. We'll reach out to you, with some leads. I really appreciate that. And this has been your week's Sanctum Forecast. Adios. Bye.